Elections 2015. Yeah. So, first of all, I am going to introduce myself. My name is Mario, and I'm the current Vice President for Welfare and Community, and I will be your chair tonight. Everyone with us tonight, please remember that we are live on UPSU TV and Pure FM, so please do not swear. We will be asking up to a maximum of 10 questions to each candidate, and unless we have additional time, when we will allow more questions. Today, we have 4 people running for the position of VP Activities. And remember that there's also the option to vote for no suitable candidate if you feel that none of the candidates are good enough. And so without any more delays, I want to welcome the candidates for the position VP Activities on stage. So please put your hands together for Emily Dell, Benjamin Perry, David Ayton, and Ryan Brooks. So this evening, each of the candidates will be invited to give a 2-minute opening speech. After these speeches, we will then allow the questions to start. All candidates will be invited to answer all questions. And please keep all questions relevant. This year, for the first time, we will be allowing candidate-specific questions. But for foreigners, we will only allow a maximum of 2 candidate-specific questions. Other candidates will also be invited to answer the questions. If we have time, the candidates will be given the option to ask questions to each other. But that's only if we manage to get through the 10 questions for the audience. We're inviting those in the audience and those watching from home to send their questions via Twitter, Facebook, and email. Those wanting to send their questions, please, if you want to use Twitter, use the hashtag #VoteUPSU. Those using Facebook, go to facebook.com/PortsmouthSU. And those using email, go for elections@upsu.net. This year, campaigning is allowed in the Union Building during question time. But please, bear in mind that we're hosting the question time, so try not to disturb. Candidates will be given a maximum of 2 minutes to respond to questions. And after those 2 minutes, the mics will be cut off. So please, candidates, if you look at the screen there, you will see a 2 minutes countdown. So keep an eye on it. Yeah, questions will be asked in a rotating order. So we'll be starting from Emily Dell, and then the first question will be answered by Ben, followed by David, and so on. At the Students' Union, we have a zero-tolerance policy, which means that we don't tolerate any abuse or personal attacks, and that goes both here and online, so please bear that in mind. So, without any more delay, we're going to start with the speeches from the candidates. I'll hand over to you guys. You have 2 minutes each to tell us why we should be voting for you. So, if you want to start.
Hello, my name is Emily Dell, and I'm the current Vice President Activities. Throughout university, I studied business enterprise development. Also, throughout university, I also volunteered as a number of positions. I was President of the Business Society, Media and Publicity Officer on the Society's exec, and also PBS faculty rep. Throughout my year, I've had some major wins. I've revitalised and reinvented Pugwash, so they now have a full committee, and also it's going to print on Friday, which is going to be amazing, and you look out for it at Varsity. I've also given three societies the same development and awards programs that paid societies have. I've created and voted through a new vote of no confidence procedure, which introduces a mediation period, and also members can vote in their committee and vote out of the committee. I've also been working with the RAG a lot this year. I've been working on a fair funding policy with other members of staff. And I've also had TEDx licence approved for this year, so the TEDx Society can hold events throughout this union. My main manifesto points are to introduce a Give It a Go programme, which gives students the publicity to give their student taster sessions through freshers and in January. I've also introducing an enterprise zone so students can use the student union to advertise and sell their products through, and also to have an enterprise fair next year. I've also introducing a committee hub so that all your resources and all the things that you need are online, and all the step-by-step processes are also online. My other objectives include creating a Societies of the Month award, creating a training programme for recruits from RAG, and also making media a fun and approachable environment. I'll be strong enough to stand up for you, flexible enough to listen and do what you want, and positive enough to make your union experience as fun and engaging as possible.
On time. Perfect. Bang on. So, next candidate, please, Ben. You have 2 minutes. Wait until the 2 minutes is gone down. That's it. So, whenever you're ready.
Hi, I'm Ben Perry. I'm a third-year politics student. My campaign's based on representation. I want to represent the views and interests of all the student community, not just the few. I fear in the past it has really just been the representation of the few, or at least not the all. And that is what we need to change. I will change that if I'm the VP for activities. I'll go about doing this by creating a student action group. This is a group that means that anybody can come along and be represented in the student union. It can be a representative of a society, a club, or just an individual that has a concern, and they can come along and make the changes. Another policy is variation in activities and events. Again, it seems like a lot of the events and activities in the union at the moment are aimed at the Taylor Swift listeners out there. Now, whilst I've got nothing against Taylor Swift, and I'll admit occasionally enjoy a bit of it myself, I think it is important to engage with everybody else. And let's say someone wants a gamer night. Why not look into that in more detail and get more involved? If someone wants a rock night, again, we can do that. Finally, I'll be accessible. I want to have my personal telephone number out there in the public domain, and people being able to contact my email, my online, whatever. People should be able to contact me all the time so that I can effectively respond to your thing. There's far too much bureaucracy going on in the union today, and we need to get more down to business. So for a fairer and more inclusive society, please vote for Ben Perry.
Thank you. So next we will have David Ayton.
Hi, I'm David. I'm standing for VP Activities. In the last year, I've been involved in the Law Society. I'm the current president, and I've also been the Society's Events and Fundraising Executive, and I've sat on both RAG Exec and also Society's Exec. These are positions which I felt I've really loved and really enjoyed doing, and that's why I'm standing for VP Activities, because I really enjoyed getting involved with activities this year, and I want to make it better for everyone. So my manifesto points are to make things easier, to improve funding and support and facilities, to make sure it's equal, and to improve accessibility for those with mental health and those with disabilities who want to get involved with activities. So my point on funding, which is slightly unclear in my manifesto, is that sports and societies should have the equal amount of funding and staff time. I believe that not enough staff time is spread equally, and that there should be, societies need more support, and that's what I pledge to do. I also believe that media groups should be fully supported by the Students' Union, and that it should be free to join media groups. This is because if we suddenly started charging to, say, write for The Galleon, I think it would change the demographic of The Galleon, and people who are from a lower income may not be able to afford it, and that would be bad for a really good student newspaper, which should be a representative of the whole student body, and that goes for all our media groups. And my point on making things easier is simply, let's hold a process audit. Let's go through the processes that societies need to go through and make sure that there's no overcomplicated steps, there's nothing that shouldn't be there, and everyone's clear of what needs to be done to make life easier for committees. And these are clear and transparent steps for every group, so that RAG, media groups and societies can fully achieve their potential. And that's why you should vote for me for VP Activities.
Thank you very much. So next candidate, Orion Brooks.
Right, hi, my name is Orion Brooks, and I think you should vote for me for VP Activities. I am a third-year undergrad in English Language and Literature. I have been the media exec this year, but previously I have been station manager of Pure FM. I've been on the Society's exec as the vice chair. I've been on the RAG exec as the media officer. So I've actually been on all of the executives that feed into the VP Activities role. So I have a really good grasp of activities across the board. Now, I think activities is fantastic to get involved in because there's so much diversity. You've got the media groups that really get out there and they help us spread the student message, but also they scrutinise the union. They make sure that we are actually on track as a group. And so I want to continue that fantastic work they're doing, but also utilise them as part of one of my manifesto points, which is to improve communication. We have this fantastic means for getting things out there. So we should be working with them, not having them reporting on, just entirely on things we're doing. We should be, sabbatical officers are allowed to write for the Galleon, so why aren't we writing for the Galleon, using that means to get things out there? I think that societies are so broad and they do so many different things, and we're not actually able to keep track of everything that they do. So I want to implement tracking and volunteering so that people are able to submit the hours that they do, that they get involved with their groups, so that we can, at the end of the year, essentially have this massive amount of hours and go, look at all the work that we've done, look at the fantastic work that our students do in activities, but also that will spread across the board, across the whole union. We'll be able to track sports, we'll be able to track course reps, and everybody that's getting involved. And then we're able to, at the end of the year, print out a thing and say, you've done this many, hundreds of hours of volunteering and you've done some great work for the union, but also that links to employability. You can put that on your CV and go, look, I've been accredited for this kind of work. And then I want to link that into my final manifesto point, which is to enhance the training that we provide, not only for committees, but also to make it available to all members, and then work with Purple Door to link that to employability skills, because really, this is what we're here at university, is so we can improve ourselves so that we can go out there into the job market and get a fantastic job and have a fantastic life. Thank you.
And that's it. Thank you. Thank you very much. So please put your hands together for the candidates. Thank you very much for your speeches. Brilliant. So we're now going to start with question time. I want the first question to come from the audience, so please, anyone with a question, raise your hand. The gentleman in the back row, please. Can someone pass a mic to him? Remember,
Hi. Oh, God, that's loud.
please, just something to bear in mind. Remember that the first few questions are going to be to all candidates.
Yep, all
and then we'll
candidates.
move into relevant.
It's
Yep,
fine.
lovely.
So some protected groups on campus are represented by a society and a student officer, for example, LGBT. In a situation where the LGBT society president had a different view to the LGBT students officer, who would you be inclined to support?
Personally, I would be inclined to support the work of the actual society, so the president himself, providing he had the support of the entire society. I think it's important to represent as many people as humanly possible. So if it was only the president that had that view, then obviously, you wouldn't want to represent him. However, if it was, if his view was in fact representative of everyone, then of course we would side with him. Thanks.
Thank you. Next candidate.
I think I'd address the issue as a whole. I don't want to be too general, but I think some issues specific. Let's get people down. Let's talk about things. I think talking can help deal with a lot of these problems. Let's not be afraid to talk. I think kind of student officers are elected by the whole student body, but not necessarily elected by the body that they're representing. So, for instance, anyone can vote for the LGBT officer, whether you class yourself in that demographic or not. And the society, again, represents them people because everyone's there. I think I'd have to deal with the issue as it came up, but I feel like both the society and the officer both have valid points to say. They both can contribute to the discussion. I think, which one would I agree with? I think student officers are elected by the whole student body, whereas it's not necessarily the society that the whole student body. So in terms of that, I'd probably go with the student officer. But again, it would depend on what the debate was, but let's get people down talking and joining all together.
Thank you very much. Next candidate, Orion Brooks.
Okay, well, in an ideal world, obviously the two of them would be working quite closely together. But it depends, because obviously each sabbatical officer takes on 2 student officers. So if I had the LGBT officer as one of mine, I'd obviously have been working quite closely with them. If not, then I'd hope to get in the other sabbatical officer. We'd work as a group. Like David said, communication is key, so getting them into a room together. But also looking at how many people have they spoken to, because student officers have to give reports for student council, so you can look at, they should be writing up minutes from their meetings and seeing how many people attended, how many people have they actually approached about this issue. And the LGBT society would be generally voted in by people who are LGBT or have interest in the LGBT community, because that's why they've gone to that kind of society group. So you would hope that they are, supporting that kind of view that is of that group of people, whereas, like has been said before, anybody can vote for them in the student officer elections. So communication's key, and I'd like to get them in together, but generally I would favour the societies because it comes under the wing of VP Activities.
Thank you. Next candidate, Emily Dunn.
Okay, so that's a good example because I've actually had that issue this year. I'm the Sabbatical officer that looks after the LGBT officer, and obviously I have the LGBT president as well. This year they've worked really well together, so that's never been an issue. But obviously you just kind of have to look at the different opinions. I found that, I don't know if this has happened in the past, but this year they've worked really well together. So they tend to talk, they tended to speak to each other, and they also tended to do similar kind of things, and they also worked a lot with each other. But yeah, exactly what they've said. I'd also bring the society's exec chair because he's also very good at representing the actual society presidents. But yeah, mainly communication, bringing them both in the room, and mediation is always kind of the easiest thing to go about, but that's never been an issue.
Well, lovely, thank you very much. We can pass the mic to David. Lovely. So, any more questions from the audience? Please, come on guys. Okay, so we're gonna go for the lady on the third row. Someone can pass the mic.
So you've all said that you want to improve communication and processes within the union to make things easier for student volunteers. That's been attempted so far this year in regards to, for example, buckets for RAG, but it's actually made things an awful lot more difficult and more stressful for our volunteers. So how would you go about improving communication and processes without actually doing more harm?
I would get the student groups in, let's have forums, but I think a lot of the work can be done just with staff and sitting down and going through the processes. I've had lots of problems this year as president, as society exec, with not knowing what to do to achieve my aims. I think for change to happen, sometimes you do have to rip things apart. I wouldn't want to rip it apart too much, but I think that in the first month or a bit, people might get confused, but hopefully after that, life will be easier and better for the coming months after that when I'm in my term. But yeah, I think there is a danger of it being more destructive, but I think communication's key. I think being transparent, showing what you're doing, and making sure that everyone knows what they're achieving, and yeah, so communication with student groups and forums so they can get involved with how to make their life easier.
Okay, well, obviously I've seen some of the processes that have changed throughout the course of the year, and I think that a problem we face is changing something in the middle of the year, like in the middle of a term, is we need to use the breaks in between. So over the summer, we're going to work quite heavily on processes so that when they come back, the student groups can be informed of what's changed and therefore be able to use that throughout the course of the year. Sometimes things do need to be changed on the fly. If they're not working, if it's not actually easier for students, then things do need to change. But I think tying them to breaks in the student life, in student calendar, will make things easier for students to approach. And then also, working on communicating that down. First job is you talk to the execs. The execs should know what is going on in the union and in processes that are underneath them, and therefore they can feed it down. We have a really good system whereby for example, societies have activities council where they can feed to the chairs, and then the chairs will then be able to feed that information down. We shouldn't be changing things without students knowing about what is changing. So I think it's important that we utilise the communication channels that are already in place, but also work on improving, making sure that members know about things by emailing them out directly, because anyone that signs up to a club, we have their contact details because they have to sign up for insurance purposes. We should be able to contact them and let them know that something that they want to do, something they're involved with and excited about being involved with is changing, and that they need to be understand that change. Thank you.
So yeah, this is one of the issues we've had this year is not just in this department, but also probably the whole of student opportunities. We keep constantly changing processes, but they're never really communicated out, not just to you guys, but also to me. So yeah, one thing I'm bringing next week is a proposal to leadership, which Lucy, or the student in the third row, knows about. But also, I'm also doing a process audit, similar to what David has, is the fact of making step-by-step guides of every single process to put online. Like Orion said, Activities Council is a really good example because our Societies and Media Coordinator does an operational update at every Activities Council. So I think that needs to be pushed more into media and RAG because we don't really have those operational updates. We need that more because it's been really, really helpful this year with some societies. Yeah, that's basically it.
Well, I don't think there's an easy fix. First started to think about running when I was at the pub. Basically, we were simply moaning about the lack of representation. I felt like, and so did my friends, we felt a bit disenfranchised by the union. And the union events and activities just didn't seem to represent us and our group. Therefore, we started talking about ways we would change it. And as it went on, we kind of started to assume that we were going to make these changes. Over the next few weeks, we just continued talking about it until we just thought, we've got to run, we've got to make a difference. There's not enough representation, and we need to change that. There's not enough fairness, there's not enough people that are actually represented in the union right now. So that's what inspired me to run.
I've loved getting involved with activities over the last year and a bit. Loved getting involved in societies with RAG and starting to get involved with a bit of media now, which I'm really starting to enjoy. I've returned a number of different societies, kind of AGMs and EGMs, and really being able to go out and see some really diverse and different kind of activities and seeing people enjoy what they do and love what they do. However, I want more people to be able to experience this. I think there needs to be change, and I think much more people could get involved that don't currently get involved. And that's what inspired me to change, because I've enjoyed it myself, and I've benefited a lot from it. I've gained a lot of skills, I've gained a lot of enjoyment, and I want more people, I suppose, to have as much fun and gain the skills that I have.
Thank you very much, guys. So we're going to go into the next question, but I've just been told that Twitter is a little bit quiet, so please, guys, especially those from home, carry on tweeting and send some questions our way. So, next question. Anyone from the audience, please? The gentleman in the back row, please.
So, given that we already have democratically elected RAG exec, SOC exec, and media exec, why should we have a democratically elected activity SAB as opposed to an additional full-time member of union staff just consistently doing that?
Okay, so yeah, we have RAG exec, we have media exec, and we have society exec, which all represent groups to the most they can, but they also don't go out into the university. Like, I represent students on a number of different levels, so I go to committees. I was also part of recruitment processes in the university, and I represent students on those levels, not just at the union level. That's pretty much it.
Yes, well, it's a very good question, because it does seem that this role potentially isn't that needed. I personally disagree. I think that this role is absolutely crucial for bringing those areas together. Whilst I think it's important to delegate responsibility to those chair people and whatnot, to bring them together, we can do more, we're better together, as it were. Although I don't want to quote David Cameron there, but we are better together. So, yes, that's all.
I think that kind of society executive, RAG exec, and media exec can all represent the views that they have, but they don't necessarily represent the wider view of the student body. There are some people that aren't getting involved in activities, and I think a sabbatical officer can go out and get them try and get them involved. They may not necessarily want to, but, and improve that. I believe that it also helps the three execs work together. So I think the work like RAG can do with societies and media involvement with RAG and societies as well, getting everyone kind of together is really good. And also I think any more representation, more voices being heard is better than not having people's voices being heard.
Right, well, obviously, as the last candidate to speak on this, everyone sort of covered a lot of areas, but I do think it's important to have someone democratically elected to lead all of those groups. I mean, a staff member, we don't get a choice in who gets put into that role, but I think it's important that the student voice is heard, and students should be able to choose which one of us you think should lead those groups, who will bring societies, media, and RAG together, who will get them to work on projects together. I mean, they do actually work on a lot of projects together. You have some societies, doing things within the media. You have media fundraising with RAG, and you have these fantastic, like even David works as the societies and RAG sort of liaison officer, and so they do work in between themselves, but they can't always do everything that they want to do, and that's because they don't have someone who is full-time, who is representing them, as has been said before, out in the university, out with groups. Sabbatical officers go out on the open days and they go and talk to people and encourage people to come and get involved in our union. Come join the university to get involved with what we love doing. And I think it's important that you have that representative who sees all of those areas together rather than seeing them as separate units, who can bring them together, who can bring those views to the wider student population and therefore represent activities.
Lovely. So next question from the audience. The gentleman in the back row, please.
I'd just like to ask all four of the candidates what their feelings are on one student, one vote, because it was basically for your elections, it's democratic, it's one vote per person and everyone counts the same. So why should other decisions within the union not count the same for the student body to choose as opposed to officers and other people involved on student council?
Well, I mean, I understand the one person, one vote concept. Personally, I am in favour of transferable vote. I think it's a fairer and better system to be using. But, obviously, it seems like a majority want the one student, one vote system, and therefore we must introduce that. I don't want to be a sabbatical officer that doesn't listen to the people and just does what I think's best. I want to be listening to the people, and if that's what the people want, regardless of what I think, if that's what the people want, that's what we should do.
I voted against, when I was on the floor at Student Council, I voted against the motion to introduce one student, one vote. The reason why I did that, I don't think it fits in the format of Student Council. So I think if people want a motion passed, they might bring a load of people down. The people on the floor aren't representative necessarily of the entire student body. I think getting more students involved, getting them to do decisions is great, and if that's something that's going to happen, I don't want to see it through Student Council. I prefer there to be online voting on motions to be able to get more people involved, because to me, not enough people turn up to Student Council to represent the entire university body. So that's why I voted against it at Student Council. So I think, although I agree with it in principle and it's great, I think every student should get their own vote on motions and on policy, but I think if that's going to happen, Student Council needs to change a lot more dramatically than what the motion, just to allow people on the floor to have one vote each.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with David quite strongly there, that I voted for it because my media members told me that they wanted one student, one vote, and they wanted me to vote for that motion, so I did. But I did cheer a little bit when it didn't go through, because I think in the format that it wasn't complete. It didn't make the radical changes that it needed to make. There's not enough students turn up to Student Council, and that's something that does need to be addressed. But I think in the format that it is, if one student, one vote had gone through when it did, it made the system liable to being exploited. You could bring along a large group of friends and get what you wanted passed through. Obviously, that would have to go through the trustees step, and you'd hope that something that was outlandish wouldn't get through that. But in the grand scheme of things, the whole system needs an overhaul, and that's why the union's going through processes like the governance review, which I know is going to hopefully change the way in which we vote on motions, because right now the system doesn't work. And we can agree that it doesn't work, and one student, one vote is an idealistic view that overall would be great. Every student deserves a vote. Every student deserves to be able to make their voice heard on any motion. But in the current format, I didn't think that it was right. In the future, yes. Right now, it wasn't ready.
Yeah, I obviously at Student Council don't get a vote, so that's a bit different. But yeah, the problem we have at the moment is that not enough people are turning up. And the people that we are voting to represent us, obviously it depends on the person, but they aren't actually representing that many people. Like we had in that Student Council, we had someone who was there, we had 20 or 30 people that they were representing, but they hadn't spoken to them at all. That's the problem we have at the moment, is that we need to increase the training on student officers so they're actually talking to people they're supposed to be representing. There are some positions out there who are actually representing the people that they're talking to. So if that was happening with every student officer or every exec chair, that would work perfectly. But at the moment, one student, one vote doesn't work because we get 15 to 20 people turning up, and that's not representative enough for me.
Cool, lovely. So we have... Please keep yourselves to the question time. So we have a question coming from Twitter. Really good question, by the way. Do you guys believe that media groups provide a service to all students? If so, do you think that they're doing well? If you can
Just repeat the question again.
Yeah, sorry, if I speak too quick, ask me to repeat. Do you believe that media groups provide a service to all students? If so, do you think that they're doing well?
Okay, so our media groups do an amazing job in providing coverage for such events like this. I believe they do provide a big service to a lot of students. They hold the union to account. They have really good articles. Anyone can pick up a galleon and read it, and anyone can write for it, and anyone can go and have a Pure FM show. So halfway through the year, I just said, you know what, I fancy having a Pure FM show. Emailed the head of programming, and I now have a Pure FM show. And I think it's great that students can just get involved like that with media. I think that perhaps I would want to see media groups have to be a bit more proactive in getting people involved. So, for example, the Galleon having some sort of thing on their website. They may already have this. Submit an article. So if someone wants to write about a certain topic and they just want to write a one-off article, they can just write that article and then it goes to the relevant editor and they decide whether it's suitable. So get more people involved with student media. But yeah, I think they do a really good job. They provide such a good service to union events. And I think that any cut in their funding, or if they need to be supported by the Students' Union, otherwise costs such as live broadcasts would spiral out of control for elections. And it's really great that it is run by volunteers because it builds up their skills and also provides a service to students.
Right, so obviously as media exec, I get first-hand look at what the media groups do, and I think that we do some things really well, but we don't do everything really well, and we know it. We don't engage with as many volunteers as we would like to, possibly because the training isn't good enough, so that we don't understand how to market ourselves out there so that we can get more people involved. Maybe because we don't know how to run teams properly, because leadership training is only really offered for chairs, so that people don't know how to lead their smaller teams. And the thing is, you can't expect one individual to run a massive group on their own. It's a committee effort. And so being able to funnel that down and have each of the team leaders be better at what they do means we will be able to engage with more volunteers. But yeah, I think their live broadcasts are fantastic. I think, you know, the Galleon's fantastic, and I'm really excited to see what Pugwash can do. But there is always going to be things that we don't do well, and there's so much that, you know, we need to improve upon, that it's an ongoing process. And I think, you know, media provides service because we get it out there. We've had, you know, 65,000 views on the Galleon website this year. Like, that's 65,000 people reading what our students have written. I mean, a lot of them were on a couple of fantastically written news articles that were right on the money. It's stuff that's relevant to Portsmouth, that's relevant to our students. And that's the service we provide, is that we provide that insider knowledge on the student life in Portsmouth that other people can't. I think, you know, we help cover events, we help go and, like UPSU TV, go and film sports matches like Jack Seagus Memorial and stuff, and that's brilliant to get that coverage so that the information's out there. But I don't think, and I think a lot of media would openly admit that we don't do as well as we could do. Thank you.
Yeah, so being VP Activities, I see also the great work the media does. Do I think they provide a service to all students? Yes, to a point. They try and engage as many people out there as possible, but is everyone a member of media? I don't agree with that. We have loads of engaged members of media, and there are hundreds of engaged media members of media. We don't service all students. The Galleon is a great service, but yeah, we don't engage all media, all members into media. But yeah, they do a lot of events. They do elections broadcasts. They do eCal, all those amazing things. They also do a lot for the union in terms of events for societies. So Jawa was filmed by UPSU TV, and Ragball was photographed by the Photography Society. I know they're not a part of media, but they are also a service that helps us a lot. But yeah, I don't think we would say that media are a service to all students, but the whole thing of funding is ongoing and should be answered in the next coming weeks.
I think they definitely have the potential to be a service to everybody. I think it's, I mean, they're doing such amazing work. I mean, I read the Galleon like constantly, just because it's such fantastic journalism that actually is what affects us. But the main issue I think that exists is the lack of awareness, especially about Pure FM and the TV channel, UPSU TV. Now, whilst they do fantastic work, and last week, you know, we were lucky enough to be on that sofa and, you know, be interviewed by them, which was fantastic fun. I just think, it just needs more awareness. More people need to be involved. More people need to be told about it and be able to engage with it.
Cool, lovely. So we've gone through the first 5 questions. From now on, you are able to ask candidate-specific questions. Please, you know, don't do any personal attacks, and yeah, keep them relevant. After this question, we will have a 5 minutes access break. And so yeah, so next question, please, anyone in the audience? The gentleman on the fourth row.
Hello. So sort of following on from the previous question about, you've also said about that changes need to be made. There's been a lot of talk this year, especially from some sort of student groups regarding VNC's fair opportunities for all, that some student groups portray quite a negative ethos. How would you ensure this changes in the wider activities body?
Me first then? As Emily said in one of her wins earlier, that a new VNC procedure has just been put through, so it's going to be interesting to see over the next couple of months how that portrays out, because we don't know how that's going to affect how groups go towards the VNC procedure. But yeah, sometimes there is seemingly a negative ethos within committees, but I think it's important that we work on training at the beginning, on how people work with each other, because chairs and stuff are given training on how to make an inclusive student group, but also how to lead a team. And I think it's important that they tackle those issues early, that if there is someone they feel they're unhappy with another person on their committee, that those issues are brought to the forefront and they're discussed amongst themselves, so that people can work on it. Maybe someone's got their own issue as to why they can't fulfill the role to the level they wish they could. But it's more about communication than we've changed the process now, so that's not as much of an issue. It's about actually talking about it, getting it out in the open, and making the committee work more as a team, so that VNCs don't need to happen in the first place.
Yeah, this is why I thought the new VNC procedure was so important. I've been here this year and I've seen how VNCs have gone through, and I thought it was very negative, very competition-based, and that's something I definitely want to change. I want to make media as engaging and approachable as possible and fun. We had a period in this year when people were just not having fun in media, and I think that definitely needs to change. And also the whole negative aspects of media. I think this year's been quite a lot of competition, a lot of trying to kind of beat people at things, which isn't what it's about. It should be collaborative, it should be teamwork, and it should be as fun and approachable as possible. And that's something that I definitely want to change next year.
Well, of course, as has been said, there are a number of issues. We've got a new process, and therefore, we will just have to wait and see how that comes along, really. However, right now, I think potentially there is quite a negative ethos around various committees. And people should just try and, be more engaged with it. I don't understand why that would happen. I want there to be a positive reinforcement of this. So I think it is definitely true that there are some negatives around it, but we should just try and pursue a better future.
I think sometimes things do go wrong. I know on committees I'm on this year, I spend quite a lot of time with them, and sometimes things do go wrong, and I think the best thing is to talk about it. It's communication, and also welfare of everyone involved in the process, not just the person that people want to get rid of necessarily, but also the entire committee. I know I've been through a process this year of someone on kind of a VNC kind of thing, and I had to chair a meeting, and it was a horrible situation. So I think welfare is really important of everyone involved, and getting people talking. As I said, talking is a really good thing, and if people talked, quite a lot of things I sometimes feel just would be solved. I think it sometimes can have a negative impact on certain people and on the groups themselves, and it creates certain things to become dysfunctional. I think getting things out of the open and communication is the best.
Lovely. Well, thank you to all candidates and everyone in the audience. We're now going to have an audience access break. Yeah, so we'll be back in 10 minutes. If everyone can be back in their seats at 7 o'clock, thank you. Just go to the toilets, do whatever you want. They're free. Put on my best suit, got it.
I think it's time to give you all 30 seconds to speak to the viewers at home and tell them why you should vote, why they should vote for you based on your manifesto. So we're going to start back this way.
You're on camera 3, so we've got 30 seconds, which is going to be timed for you.
Oh, you're on camera 1.
Okay, go camera 1.
No, camera 3. Camera 3.
Defo.
So when you're ready, your 30 seconds starts now.
Okay, hi, my name is Orion. I want to be your VP Activities. I really want to change things in the Activities department. I really want to push communications so that I can get out the message of what we're doing, the fantastic opportunities that we have. I really want to be able to track volunteering hours so people know everything that you're doing in your societies, your media and your RAG, and that'll also stretch across the rest of the union. And I also want to enhance the training opportunities and work with Purple Door to enhance the employability skills that you learn in your time in Activities.
And that's 30 seconds. Thank you very much.
Squeeze that into that last little bit.
So your time starts now.
Hi, I'm David. I'm signing for VP Activities. Vote for me if you want your union to be fairer, want it to be easier for committees and students to get involved, and to be more accessible for those with disabilities and mental health. So my first point about funding is making sure that societies, media groups, activities, sports and RAG all get the equal amount of support, funding and facilities.
There we go.
30 seconds. Brilliant. So your time starts now.
Hi, I'm Ben. I'm running for VP Activities, of course. I want to create a union that really represents its people, really represents the views and interests of all the student community. I'll do this by holding weekly drop-ins and establishing a student activities body, which basically means that everybody can come in and give their views. So for a fair union, vote for me.
Brilliant. Dead on 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And your 30 seconds.
Hi, my name's Emily and I'm the current VP Activities. My wins this year have been revitalising Pugwash, making development grants at the Stars accessible to free societies, and also hosting the first student activities dinner this year. My manifesto points are to introduce a enterprise zone, increased committee hub so that it's expanding across all committees, all student groups, and also to increase potential of societies.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Well, we're seeing you guys again next week for your question times. So
I'll take that for you. Thank you.
There we go. Put that back there. So yeah, thanks everyone.
Hi, my name's Emily Dell. I'm your current Vice President Activities. I want to introduce an enterprise zone, introduce a committee hub, and also introduce a Give It a Go programme. Vote for me, Emily Incredible Dell.
Hi, I'm Ben Perry. I'm a third-year politics student. I want to create a union that is truly representative of all its people, that represents the views and interests of the entire student community. For a welcoming and inclusive student union, vote for Ben Perry.
Hi, I'm David and I'm signing for VP Activities. Vote for me if you want your union activities to be fairer, more accessible and easier for both for students to get involved with and committees.
Hi, I'm Orion and I should be your VP Activities next year. I've been involved in all the activities execs, societies, media and RAG, so I know activities like the back of my hand. And it looks like it's time for a change. Let me improve communication, track volunteering and develop your employability skills. Vote Orion.
I think it's time to give you all 30 seconds to speak to the viewers at home and tell them why you should vote, why they should vote for you based on your manifesto. So we're going to start back this way.
You're on camera 3, so we've got 30 seconds, which is going to be timed for you.
Oh, you're on camera 1.
Okay, go camera 1.
No, camera 3. Camera 3.
Defo.
So when you're ready, your 30 seconds starts now.
Okay, hi, my name is Orion. I want to be your VP Activities. I really want to change things in the activities department. I really want to push communication so that I can get out the message of what we're doing and the fantastic opportunities that we have. I really want to be able to track volunteering hours so people know everything that you're doing in your societies, your media and your RAG, and that'll also stretch across the rest of the union. And I also want to enhance the training opportunities and work with Purple Door to enhance the employability skills that you learn in your time in activities.
And that's 30 seconds. Thank you very much.
Squeeze that into that last little bit.
So, your time starts now.
Hi, I'm David. I'm signing for VP Activities. Vote for me if you want your union to be fairer, want it to be easier for committees and students to get involved, and to be more accessible for those with disabilities and mental health. So my first point about funding is making sure that societies, media groups, activities, sports and RAG all get the equal amount of support, funding and facilities.
There we go.
30 seconds. Brilliant. So your time starts now.
Hi, I'm Ben. I'm running for VP Activities, of course. I want to create a union that really represents its people, really represents the views and interests of all the student community. I'll do this by holding weekly drop-ins and establishing a student activities body, which basically means that everybody can come in and give their views. So for a fair union, vote for me.
Brilliant. Dead on 30 seconds. Yeah. And your 30 seconds.
Hi, my name's Emily and I'm the current VP Activities. My wins this year have been revitalising Pugwash, making development grants at the Stars accessible to free societies, and also hosting the first student activities dinner this year. My manifesto points are introduce a enterprise zone, increased committee hub so that it's expanding across all committees, all student groups, and also to increase potential of societies.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Well, we're seeing you guys again next week for your question times. So
take that for you. Thank you.
There we go. Put that back there. So yeah, thanks everyone.
I think.
Hi, my name's Emily Dell. I'm your current Vice President Activities. I want to introduce an enterprise zone, introduce a committee hub, and also introduce a Give It a Go programme. Vote for me, Emily Incredible Dell.
Hi, I'm Ben Perry. I'm a third-year politics student. I want to create a union that is truly representative of all its people, that represents the views and interests of the entire student community. For a welcoming and inclusive student union, vote for Ben Perry.
Hi, I'm David and I'm signing for VP Activities. Vote for me if you want your union activities to be fairer, more accessible and easier for both for students to get involved with and committees.
Hi, I'm Orion and I should be your VP Activities next year. I've been involved in all the activities execs, societies, media and RAG, so I know activities like the back of my hand. And it looks like it's time for a change. Let me improve communication, track volunteering and develop your employability skills. Vote Orion.
It's time to give you all 30 seconds to speak to the viewers at home and tell them why they should vote for you based on your manifesto. So we're going to start back this way.
You're on camera 3, so we've got 30 seconds, which is going to be timed for you.
Oh, you're on camera 1.
Okay, go camera 1.
No, camera 3. Camera 3.
Defo.
So when you're ready, your 30 seconds starts now.
Okay, hi, my name is Orion. I want to be your VP Activities. I really want to change things in the activities department. I really want to push communication so that I can get out the message of what we're doing and the fantastic opportunities that we have. I really want to be able to track volunteering hours so people know everything that you're doing in your societies, your media and your RAG, and that'll also stretch across the rest of the union. And I also want to enhance the training opportunities and work with Purple Door to enhance the employability skills that you learn in your time in activities.
And that's 30 seconds. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Squeeze that into that last little bit.
So, your time starts now.
Hi, I'm David. I'm signing for VP Activities. Vote for me if you want your union to be fairer, want it to be easier for committees and students to get involved and to be more accessible for those with disabilities and mental health. So my first point about funding is making sure that societies, media groups, activities, sports and RAG all get the equal amount of support, funding and facilities.
There we go.
30 seconds, brilliant. So your time starts now.
Hi, I'm Ben. I'm running for VP Activities, of course. I want to create a union that really represents its people, really represents the views and interests of all the student community. I'll do this by holding weekly drop-ins and establishing a student activities body, which basically means that everybody can come in and give their views. So for a fair union, vote for me.
Brilliant. Dead on 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And your 30 seconds.
Hi, my name's Emily and I'm the current VP Activities. My wins this year have been revitalising Pugwash, making development grants at the Stars accessible to free societies, and also hosting the first student activities dinner this year. My manifesto points are to introduce a enterprise zone, increased committee hub so that it's expanding across all committees, all student groups, and also to increase potential of societies.
Perfect. Okay. Well, we're seeing you guys again next week for your question times. So
I'll take that for you. Thank you.
There we go. Bye bye.
Guys, yeah, get ready, guys. So we are gonna be starting again. So yeah, any questions from the floor? Please remember that questions now can be candidate specific, but be respectful. And so yeah, we're gonna go for the lady in the third row.
So you don't just have societies, you've got like RAG and media as well. How are you going to split the time, bearing in mind they all have different needs?
Yeah, so I've had to do that this year. I think I've done it actually quite well. I do spend quite a lot of time out of hours at media and RAG stuff because they tend to be at night rather than during the day. I also have catch-ups with the RAG exec chair quite often, and I also spend quite a lot of time in the media exec chair, who's also a candidate. So I think I've actually fulfilled that quite well this year. It's really difficult, it's really time consuming to try and make sure that you're spending equal amount of times with each group. But yeah, I hopefully think I've actually done that this year.
Yes, well, the role of VP Activities is probably the most kind of all-encompassing role. It's got a lot to consider, and obviously it will be difficult. I, however, do believe that it is feasible. We can delegate certain amounts of responsibility to the people that, well, frankly, know more than us about the issues. So, for example, media, the exec probably are more informed on exactly what to do. So through one-to-ones with them and through meeting with the committees and everything else, I think we can engage with all three and bring them together quite nicely.
I don't think it's sensible to kind of divide the time, like a third on RAG, a third on media, a third on societies. I believe if RAG are operating fine and they sincerely are operating fine, then less support may be needed for them. But if things aren't going well with, say, certain societies, more time might be needed for them. In the same point that if RAG aren't operational, there's problems, they're having difficulties achieving what they want to achieve, then more time would need to be spent with RAG rather than other. And so, although I think there needs to be kind of a 20% of the time spent, 20% of the time spent, 20% of the time spent on each one, and then that leaves kind of 40% of the time, 40% of the time left to kind of be flexible each week, to kind of go, well, who needs things dealt with this week? Who needs, so be flexible with the time and not kind of split it down with thirds. The person that needs the help, the groups that needs the support should get the support when they need it. And so that's what I would do.
Excellent. I think it's very difficult to split your time between each of the three. Last year I was on all three execs and I managed to split my time between them and doing my degree as well. So I know that it is very hard to manage in each of them because they have got a lot of responsibilities, and I think what's important is not setting a set amount of time for each one. It's going, right, these are my core responsibilities within each of them, book them into your calendar, and then being flexible to their needs. Being proactive over the summer, getting everything planned out for the year, getting a calendar of events that people want to do, because I think, certainly I've seen in media this year, that we don't necessarily plan so much in advance. What we do is we plan the core events like elections and varsity and things like that, but we don't really plan a lot of the other things we're going to do. And I think if we did that, we'd have more of an idea of what was coming, be able to get the timescales right, and maybe they wouldn't need quite as much support when those came around. But then being able to, throughout the year, be reactive to the needs of the groups. Like, problems happen. It's just a fact of life, and to be able to react to them when they happen means that you can, the VP activities can deal with that situation rather than going, right, I've got this core time set aside for societies. Look, societies are fine. I don't know what I'm going to do with my time right now. It's about having that communication with the student groups so that you know what they need and being able to react with them at that time.
Cool, lovely. Any more questions from the audience? The gentleman in the back row, please. Candidate specific, yep. And you'll be able to rebuttal if you're not happy with the answer. Yeah.
So my question's to Emily. Your manifesto that you used last year to get elected had, if I remember correctly, implementing a safety bus, having courses able to be societies, and implementing a virtual tour of a union. In your wins from this year, not one of those manifesto points is mentioned. Is there a reason for that?
Okay, so also at the bottom of it, because I thought that the 3 bullet points weren't enough, I also put other bullet points, which are one of the others. Safety bus, you don't realise how hard it changes in this university. I'm still working on it at the moment. I'm still getting emails from members of higher up in the university talking about it. So it's not like it hasn't been completed. You just don't realise how difficult and how time-consuming it is to make changes in the university when you need a massive amount of money. So that's still ongoing. The academic one, I found out after elections, people didn't want it. I've been working really hard with academic societies and supporting them as much as possible, but not every course wanted an academic society. So I did a lot of inductions. I went to inductions and spoke about the benefits of academic societies and how to set them up. That was kind of way of going about that manifesto point, because not everyone wanted an academic society and I didn't want to force that on anyone, and that was probably my fault when I wrote my manifesto last time. The virtual tour, this year we're working on developing the union's platform online. That's part of that process, so that should come about in the next couple of months.
Cool, lovely. Would you like to rebuttal that? No, lovely. So every other candidate will have an answer to comment on the question?
Yeah, just a quick comment. I think it is a frankly brilliant question. Just because there are quite a few different issues which I feel haven't been addressed. And this is why when I'm planning my manifesto, I made a huge point to make sure that each and every aim that I set out in my manifesto is achievable and is something that we can get to within a year, if not sooner.
Yeah, you can rebuttal, yeah.
Okay, so one of your manifesto points is speak to all students. How realistic is it that you're actually going to speak to every single student at this university? Because as being a sabbatical officer, I just know that's not achievable.
I agree, that would be ludicrous. Luckily, that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting that we have a forum which allows every student, whoever they want to be, to come in and talk to us. I'm not suggesting that I, ask every student in the university to line up and go one by one. That would be ridiculous. What I am suggesting is that if they have any, problems, they can just come to us.
Okay. Well, thank you. David?
My comment would be that my manifesto points I think are achievable, and I hope are achievable, and if elected, that's what I want to do, and achieve them as fast as possible to improve a greater students' union for all.
Yeah, I mean, the question was generally about being able to complete manifesto points, and I've very much targeted mine to activities to make sure that it's always within my remit to be working on those points so that I can make sure that I achieve them during the course of the year.
Lovely. So next question, anyone from the audience? If possible, would it be possible to address it to some other candidate? So we want to keep Questions to all candidates? Yeah. The lady in the third row.
Okay, this one's for Ben. Hi. I was just wondering, we've heard about all the experiences the other candidates had, but what experiences do you have with societies, media and RAG?
Well, I've been a member of societies, obviously, like the Rock Society and the Political Union and things. So that's, in large part, my only experience with societies. I've never been on an executive, and I don't want to, pretend that I've been more involved than I have. I think the experience that I've had comes from other roles that I've had in the past, not necessarily in the university, but in other aspects of my life. From a very early age, I've been at school. I was representing the school as the treasurer, where my responsibilities were to organise all events and activities. Again, for my sixth form college, I was the treasurer of the sixth form committee, where I had to organise weekly events. This has again continued. I'm now a representative in Portsmouth for a civic group, and also am working with a children's charity where we organise weekly events for children. So I think I will be more than capable to to create events and activities which represents the people.
Thank you. Would any other candidate would like to respond to this question or comment? No? Cool. No, it's up to you. So you don't have to.
Okay, so my experience, obviously I'm on, as I said before, I'm on Society's events and fundraising executive, so I sit on both Societies and RAG. I am, forgetting what I do now, Law Society President, so it's one of the largest societies at the Students' Union, which has a lot of challenges, but I really enjoy doing that. I'm a member of a number of different societies, from kind of PUGS, which is the Scout and Guide Society, Political Union. I've been to a few of their events and I'm a member, though I keep missing things for being busy, but I am a member of that. And other experience, I'm currently training to be a mediator. I've done all my training, about to go out, which I think will be valuable in this role. I'm a Scout leader, so I'm kind of used to planning events, doing risk assessments. I've got loads more experience, but I could just list my CV. But if anyone wants a copy of my CV, just email me and they can have a copy of my CV if they want.
All right, I'll stick to recent experience. So first year I was a presenter on Pure FM to start off with. I got right in as a branded show presenter. I was also signed up as a recruit to do Kilimanjaro, where I raised £2,700 so that I could, half that goes to the charity and half of it pays for the reward of going and climbing Kilimanjaro, which is a massive challenge, and I urge anyone to do it because it's a fantastic experience. I can't explain to you what it's like at the top because there aren't words for it. It's amazing. I then, learned from that time and decided to run for committee positions, so I took over as station manager of Pure FM. I was the media officer for RAG, and then I decided to want to get more involved in societies, adopted the English Society with a friend of mine, and then thought, well, I like societies, so I got elected as the vice chair of the societies exec, so I was on all three execs at once there. And then this year, I decided that I wanted to be able to focus on my degree, so I took a step back from RAG and societies and took the role of media exec chair, and have really pushed myself into leading the media so that they can do everything that they want to do and they're able to, meet their mission statements, as it were.
Okay, so during my university time, I was president of the Business Society my second year, but I worked on committee in my first year. In third year, I was also president, and I was also on society's exec as a media and publicity officer. I didn't really get involved in media and RAG as much as when I was a student, but I have tried to change that as much as possible since then. So I have a show on Pure FM at the moment, and I also have been getting involved as much as possible in RAG this year. But yeah, they're most of my voluntary positions during union life.
Lovely. Does anyone have any question to the other two candidates? Questions for Ryan or David? No? Okay, so then we will proceed with general questions. If anyone has any questions, please raise your hands. Anyone in the audience? Come on, Kunal. You're gonna do it. All right. Yeah. So the gentleman in the blue jumper.
Yeah. Obviously, you were quite a key role in getting Pugwash sort of back finding its feet. But your limited experience with sort of sports, how would you help those if there's a sports society or law society struggling?
Okay, well, obviously there's the definition between, there's the sports clubs, which goes under the VP Sport, but under VP Activities. We do have some that start off in societies, they're sports societies, but they want to move over to the AU, some of them don't, obviously. And I don't have with working with them, but I understand the processes that the union goes through. I really want to push through. It's not one of my manifesto points that's key, but I want to work with next year's VP Sport on a pre-sport category, because I don't think that societies should be shown as lesser than sports. You shouldn't have to go through a year as a society to become a sport, because we're not lesser, we're equal to. And so I really want to work with the VP Sport on that. But yeah, I don't have as much experience with sport as I'd like to, and I certainly want to get more involved.
Thank you. Does any other candidate want to respond to this question? Yeah, so Emily, if you want to go next.
Okay, so I've been working a lot with paintball this year. I've also been working with water polo, and I've also been working with mountaineering. Mountaineering is one of the clubs this year that actually want to move into the AU, so I've been working with the VP Sports quite a lot at the moment to try and get them on the STARS and development programmes so they can move into the AU. But that is something that I want to change, and I've been meeting with the VP Sports about that throughout this year, is the whole thing of physical societies have to go through societies to become part of the AU. It does make societies look like they're less important and they're less developed, and that's something that I want to change. It's not on my manifesto, but it is. We have been working on it throughout the year to show that people don't have to go be a society; they can go straight into the AU.
You don't have to.
All right, let's go for this. Yeah, well, I mean, I too don't have much experience at all in the sporting world, as you may be able to tell by my flabby body. The biggest thing, I mean, I would take from the question would just be, in the same way that you don't, have to be a woman to be a feminist, I don't think you need to be a rugby player to represent sports. So I do believe that I could represent sports. I know a number of my friends are quite heavily into it. One of my housemates is actually the president of a sports club. And I think, we can definitely work with them.
My view on it is VP Sports is VP Sports rather than VP Athletic Union, and same with coordinators and administrators. They're for sport, not for the AU, and they have the best expertise to provide support for sports clubs. Whether they're counting the Athletic Union or they're a sports, I think it's silly that they're not come under VP Sports remit. However, if that's not the case, and I am taking them on, I would probably seek quite a lot of advice, because don't have a sport background. I enjoy sport, I enjoy watching sport and playing sport. However, I don't have a good basis. I think it's going out and talking to them. Again, talking is wonderful. Let's go out and talk to people, get their views, and yeah, that's what I do. But yeah, I believe it's VP Sports, not VP Athletic Union, and thus I don't think it should come under VP Activities remit if we have a VP Sports as well. That's my view on it.
Cool, lovely. Does anyone have any questions for David? Okay, the microphone to VP Sports in the fourth row.
Hi, David. Yeah, your third manifesto point, ensure that funding is spread equally. So I'm assuming this is against all student groups. Is this a monetary value?
It's thoughts, funding, support and facilities. So as well as kind of funding, it's also staff time and say use of a minibus on a Wednesday. Sports teams may have all their fixtures on Wednesdays, but so do some societies. I believe that it should be fair. The amount of time I want a minibus, and I have got a minibus, but I've been turning around, sports get priority. Well, quite a lot of my events are on a Wednesday too. So it's been equal in that sense. I did answer earlier that I don't think that kind of funding should be equal to media groups as well. I think media groups should be free to have a continued demographic of a cross spectrum of the entire student body.
Would you like to rebuttal that answer?
Yeah, so just back onto funding. So do you think that societies, media, etc., should get the exact same amount of money as sports?
not the exact amount.
Okay, it's just that what it implies in your manifesto. I was just checking that.
I used the wrong word.
That was my fault.
I read it thinking what I was saying, and then I reread it when I submitted it and realised that I used the wrong word. I think fair funding rather than equal funding.
Okay, and what's your definition of fair funding, if I can ask that?
The amount of funding that the group needs to be able to achieve their aims, and that no student group has more is given the ability to reach their potential more than another. So let's get every student group reaching their potential rather than going, let's put a load of effort into these groups, reaching their potential is great, but leaving out other groups.
Cool. Yeah, that's perfect, thank you.
Lovely. Thank you. Would any other candidate would like to comment in this question? You don't have to, it's optional. Okay, so then we will proceed with the questions. And does anyone have any question to all candidates? Yep, the candidate in the back row.
Thank you.
Who was the last one? It's Orion. Yeah, well, the last question. Yeah.
Can I go?
Yeah,
go.
Can you?
All right. If you could build a new building for the union, and considering not only you're going to be, if you get elected, an activity SAB, but also a trustee on the board for the entire union, what building and what purpose would it have?
So, first one responding will be Orion.
I don't know about necessarily a new building as much as an expansion onto the Students' Union, if it were possible. I don't think that's feasible, but we need more space to be able to do activities as a whole, but that does have to encompass all students, so it needs to be multi-purpose in terms of, I think we need more rooms. Are heavily booked out, and it's mostly in the evening, so we need more space available for committees to meet, because I think it's important that committees meet so they can help run their groups. But I understand that there is perhaps a lack of facilities for like sports groups and stuff as well to be able to all train at the times that they want to be able to train, because lots of us have university commitments until about the same time of night, and so the expectation is that after that time a lot of clubs are going to want to train, but there's not the same amount of facility, or not enough facilities for everybody to be able to get that time. So I think multi-purpose, if I was thinking about it in terms of architecturally, there should be a big sports hall with lots of rooms above it.
Okay, so one of the main problems we have at this university is a lack of a swimming pool. I know this isn't in this role, but we do need a swimming pool for clubs to access. But yeah, exactly, multi-purpose space, things like third space where people can hold massive events, because that's one thing we have a massive problem at the moment, is that so many societies want to do so many massive events, but we don't have the space or the access at the moment to get that. Also multi-purpose space, the activities room this year has been massively popular. We need more rooms similar to that, so that dance physical societies, also during Sporto's dance off, that was really popular because a lot of people use that room to rehearse on. So it was a lot of multi-purpose meeting rooms. Yeah, basically agreeing with Ryan, but also swimming pool and some other facilities for sports.
I fear this is going to get a bit repetitive now, but yes, I fundamentally agree that we simply need more rooms for more activities. I'm aware that there is a huge issue with trying to get hold of rooms for societies and clubs and things to hold their meetings and activities in. So I think I would just want more of those, and a palace for the VP activities.
I think kind of, if money was no object, it would be TV studios, radio studios, lots of rooms, and all them things. But I think one of the major points is having all the staff in the same place. They're all dotted around different places, never sure where people are. I never knew where the SAB office was until I had to go see a SAB. Then I suddenly got lost in the whatever it's called, gun house or whatever. I think having staff in one central place so people can go, and if they want to talk to a staff member, they can just go, so they're not all dotted around the place. And a swimming pool. And a bar, don't forget a bar.
Cool, thank you very much for the answers. So we will have one more question, and then we'll proceed to questions between the candidates amongst each other. So who wants to go for the last question? Please. All right, the lady. Yeah, preferable, yes. The lady on the third row. Can we pass the mic to the lady?
What fundraising target would you like to see RAG hit next year, and why?
Okay, so we're looking for 150 this year, which is our main target. So just building on that, it's probably about 200.
Well, yeah, similar answer, but I mean, I'm not all that for like specific targets. I think it should just be improve upon yourself. So, as Emily said, you know, it's 150 this year's pretty awesome target. So if we could do even better next year, fantastic.
I think setting a target can do two things. It can really encourage people and empower them and give them enthusiasm. Let's reach this target, let's go for it. But if the target's not being reached, it can cause a lot of stress, a lot of divisions, and can, you know, make people's lives not go so well. And, you know, they want to achieve it, but if for whatever reason they're not, I feel it can have a negative impact on people's kind of work. Because any money, whether it's a pence or whether it's 200 grand, is money raised for charity. In terms of a target, a number. Do you want a number? No. I think there should be targets. I think it does help empower them, but I think it's raising money for charity is a lot more than targets. You know, it's about raising as much as you can. If the targets are encouraging people to fundraise, that's great. But if they're not and they're having a negative impact on people, then that's bad for RAG.
Next candidate.
Well, it'd be important to see what we fundraise this year before we set a target for next year. Like David said, it's good to have a target because it gives you something to aspire to. I wouldn't suggest something as ridiculous as Loughborough or Notts Carney with $1 million as their target, as I've seen some of their VP RAG candidates today say that their 1 million target is they want to smash that. Well, they do smash that, but we are still a small RAG, possibly a medium RAG in terms of membership if you look across the country, but we really have a lot of a way to grow before we can be looking at those kind of targets. Realistically, 200,000 is definitely possible, but it's almost tempting to be setting a target based on the number of people we see get involved at the beginning of the year, because then we can look at a realistic target based on people's involvement rather than going, right, let's set ourselves 200,000 and we just don't have a good year and we can't, you know, something goes against our way and we can't do anything about it. I know that we've changed our target this year because there was nothing we could do about it. We had a massive setback. It wasn't our fault. It wasn't anyone specific's fault in our RAG, but we had to change it. I think it should be flexible to the involvement that we have within RAG.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for the question and thank you for the answers. So now we will allow the candidates to ask questions to each other. So if Emily, you want to start, you're able to ask one question and yeah, you can choose.
Okay. What do you think your biggest weakness is at the moment, and how do you overcome this to get into your position and be the best VP activities you can be?
I think my biggest weakness is my lack of involvement, like already in the execs of media and societies and fundraising. So, but I think I can turn that into a positive. I mean, I think coming from an outsider point of view, I can, learn from the chair people and develop it.
I think my biggest weakness is perhaps I don't know. I've got lots of weaknesses. I'm not saying I'm a totally kind of perfect person, but I suppose I don't have experience of certain student groups, such as sports. Although it doesn't come under the role, I'd like to kind of have a bit more involvement, have a kind of more of an overview of what the student union does. My media experience isn't great, and I can't. Oh, I found my biggest weakness is grammar and spelling, and so my manifesto is probably full of grammar mistakes. So that's my biggest weakness. And I would overcome them by learning how to spell and grammar. Is grammar a word? I don't know. I think it just proves the point that my spelling grammar is terrible, to be perfectly honest. Anyway.
I kind of sort of answer it twofold. Like, in terms of knowledge, I'm willing to admit that I don't know as much as I would like to, about the cultural and faith groups within societies. It's not something that I've particularly engaged with in my roles because they haven't been under my remit when I was on SOC exec, and it's not something that I personally engage with a lot of the messages, but I think it's great that they do it. But I think, and a lot of people that know me would attest to the fact that a personal weakness of mine might be arrogance as to my own ability sometimes, but it's important to be able to recognise that, and therefore I can change.
Lovely. So if you, Benjamin, would like to ask any question to any of the candidates?
Yeah, okay. Emily, sorry. I'm rather interested to know, and please don't take this the wrong way, but why is it that we, like the electorate, should give you a second year when I feel like the current administration isn't fulfilling the needs of the union?
Okay, so as you'll find out as part of this job, I don't do as much operational things as you would actually think. I'm more of the strategic and the leadership side of this union. I don't really want to badmouth people in this room, so I'm not going to talk about the weaknesses. So I'm just going to say people should give me another chance, because you find out so much in this job in the first 6 months, and then in January you're kind of asked if you want to rerun, but all you've done is kind of learn what the position is, learn about all the university aspects, and basically gain your networks. So that's the worst part about this job, is you get the job, 6 months later you have to decide if you want to rerun. And I wanted to rerun because I felt that I gained the networks, and I now know the university so well that I can actually move forward the manifesto points that I want to change. So that's why people should give me another chance, and hopefully you do.
Would you like to rebuttal? No? Okay, so next question, David.
What is your favourite type? What is your favourite shape of pasta?
If you want to start, Ryan.
Sure. Fusilli is the twists because it manages to catch all the sauce when you use a pasta sauce.
Emily, next.
It's called conchigli. It's like the shape one. It's kind of shell-shaped one. I hate these kind of.
Ben?
Probably spaghetti, purely because it's like 19p for 500 grams at Tesco. So,
fair enough.
I lived off that for 3 weeks. So,
fair enough. Cool. Lovely. So last question, Orion.
All right, this is a question to Ben. Why are you running for activities when it appears your manifesto is presidential and doesn't really target any of the activities groups?
Well, I mean, obviously I don't. I'm running for activities because I want to make a difference within the societies and within the media, and obviously fundraising. I mean, that's what we need to change, in my view. That's the most significant part. I want to make sure that absolutely everybody has a fantastic time at university, and not just a few, which I fear in some cases this union represents. So I want to make sure that all societies and everything else is truly representative of everyone. Therefore, activities was the obvious choice.
Would you like to rebuttal that point?
I mean, not every student is involved in activities. Actually, it's a very small number. And I get the want, I mean, it's part of my campaign as well, is to want to improve communication so more people will want to get involved in it. But in a lot of your answers to questions, it seems activities, you've been linking it very closely to events that the union puts on, and it's actually the student groups themselves. And it seems that perhaps going for this position at this point, you might not understand what activities really is.
Another button?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would obviously disagree. I think I am a pretty good candidate for this role, and I think that my manifesto is definitely based around the role of activities. I want to, as I say, make a real difference, and I think that the activities role is the way to do that. Although obviously not everyone's a member of a society, not everyone is writing for the Galleon, but I do believe that we can get more and more people involved. And if someone has no interest in involving themselves in the union at all, through societies and whatnot. I can't see any reason why, we should. Well, I don't see any reason why they could be helped. Really, like if they don't want to be involved, then we can't help them.
Would you like to rebuttal, Ryan? No, that's it. Well, so that's all for tonight. Thank you very much for everyone attending today. Thank you very much for our media volunteers, and thank you very much for everyone watching from home. Please, a round of applause for our candidates. They've been brilliant tonight. So we will be back tomorrow for the question time for VP Education and Democracy. So please be back here tomorrow with us. We will be starting at 5 o'clock, I believe. Sure. 5:30, I'm afraid. So yeah. And so yeah, please don't forget to be here tomorrow, and don't forget that voting is starting on Monday. Cool. Thank you very much. Second of March, first day of the voting. So yeah, please be there, and thank you very much.
Do you know what the SU do? Come and find out. We point you in the direction of the best parties and the best clubs, societies and volunteer roles, which could do wonders for your job prospects. We tell the media what you're paying for your student accommodation and challenge the landlords who want to charge you more. We've even taken collective action to stop students being deported. We get everyone round for tea. Students, teachers and people who live locally eating together. Sweet. We can make sure your housing provider treats you right. We do lots of sustainability stuff. We help you swap courses if you don't like the one you're on. We stand up on your behalf when things aren't fair, giving you the voice to change things. And we let you stand up and speak for yourself. Get voting, get involved, get elected. So if there's something
societies, media and RAG, so I know activities like the back of my hand, and it looks like it's time for a change. Let me improve communication, track volunteering and develop your employability skills. Vote Orion.
Zone, introduce a committee hub, and also introduce a Give It a Go programme. Vote for me, Emily Incredible Dell.
Hi, I'm Ben Kerry. I'm a third-year politics student. I want to create a union that is truly representative of all its people, that represents the views and interests of the entire student community. For a welcoming and inclusive student union, vote for Ben Kerry.
Hi, I'm David and I'm planning for VP activities. Vote for me if you want your union activities to be fairer, more accessible and easier, both the students get involved with and community. Hi, I'm Orion and I should be your VP activities next year. I've been involved in all the activities execs, society, media and RAG, so I know activities like the back of my hand. And it looks like it's time for a change. Let me improve communication, track volunteering and develop your employability skills. Vote Orion.
Hi, my name's Emily Dell. I'm your current Vice President Activities. I want to introduce an Enterprise Zone, introduce a committee hub, and also introduce a Give It a Go programme. Vote for me, Emily Incredible Dell.
Hi, I'm Ben Kerry. I'm a third-year politics student. I want to create a union that is truly representative of all its people, that represents the views and interests of the entire student community. For a welcoming and inclusive student union, vote for Ben Kerry.
Hi, I'm David and I'm planning for VP activities. Vote for me if you want your union activities to be fairer, more accessible and easier, both the students get involved with and community. Hi, I'm Orion and I should be your VP activities next year. I've been involved in all the activities execs, societies, media and RAG, so I know activities like the back of my hand. And it looks like it's time for a change. Let me improve communication, track volunteering and develop your employability skills. Vote Orion.